Here it is, 6 in the morning. The moon is setting on the horizon there. It is minus 19 degrees Celsius outside. Very cold. Let's go see how the greenhouse is doing. And Joan is in there for the night. She's nice and warm by the heater. I can hear her meowing. She definitely hears me. Hello, good morning. There you are. There you are. Hello. Oh, hello. Oh, it's not too bad in here. So in the greenhouse here, it is right on about freezing. Now Joan has a nice bed here and there's a heater. Yeah, I can feel the surface of the pots here are just slightly frozen. Not too bad. Yeah. Hi, good morning. Hello. Oh, you're a darling. We're getting the first light of the day coming now. So Rebecca told me in Australia they're preparing for a 40 degrees Celsius day. And here it's minus 17. So there's almost a 60 degree difference. Yeah, somewhere in between would be quite nice, I'm sure. So it looks like a sunny day today, which will be nice. It'll warm the greenhouse up and warm me up too. The plant room stayed at a nice 21 degrees Celsius. So all my trees will be happy in there. While I'm waiting for the greenhouse to warm up, I'll show you some updates in the plant room. So we'll start over here. So here's my Ficus bengalensis, my Indian banyan tree. So I pruned that back recently and you can see there is buds coming out on the branches. I have a new leaf down there. So it looks like it's doing well. My Burt Davii ficus here, the one with the lion underneath, it's got aerial roots growing like crazy. Yeah, it's just insane the amount of aerial roots growing. I don't want aerial roots in this tree, so I'll have to pick them all off, but it's also growing well. It looks good. Behind that is my tiger bark ficus that I got from the Tropical Expressions Workshop, and it's doing well. I have my mesquite trees there from Derek. The little tiny 2 little leaf ficus is back here. It's looking okay. It's not really doing too much yet. Here's my Frankenficus, my Ficus benjamina. It's looking good. It's growing well. The leaves look really good on it. Getting fuller, which is nice. Beside that is my willow leaf ficus, and you can see I brought it indoors and it's slowly dropping a lot of the older leaves. They're turning yellow and falling off, but it looks healthy. It's doing well. I've got the ginseng ficus back there. When the weather warms up a bit, I'll be working on that, showing the transformation from the ginseng ficus like that into something like this, my Vietnam style Ficus microcarpa that I repotted recently, and it's doing really, really well. Yeah, it's looking really, really healthy now. My Toprom temple is looking good. The trees are growing like crazy. I'm getting faster growth on the Natal ficus rather than the Burt Davii ficus back there is growing a little slower, but it's doing well. In the corner back here, I have my, not Port Jackson ficus, but my, what is it? Moreton Bay ficus, one of them. And you can see there's all kinds of new growth coming on it. After the repotting, root pruning, and top pruning, it's doing well. My root over temple Ficus benjamina here is just doing exceptionally well. All kinds of new growth up top. My Brazilian rain tree here, it exploded in growth. You can see the new growth zigzagging out here. Really, really long. Yeah, it happened very quickly. Within, I think this is maybe a week since it started growing. And it just, they just go crazy. Under the right conditions, they just explode in growth. So I usually let these shoots elongate until the stems of the branch kind of start to get a bit woody, and then I prune it back. And that keeps the tree vigorous and shaped. In the corner I have my dwarf Schefflera. It's growing well. You can see some of the branches are reaching up to the light. They're growing super fast. So I may have to prune back some of the stronger growth to kind of balance the vigor a bit over the winter. I have Ficus Fancy back here. A lot of the leaves are kind of turning yellow, the older ones, but it's got a lot of new growth coming in now, so it's kind of in transition. My very first ficus, another Ficus microcarpa, has all kinds of new growth coming on it. It's doing really well. The tiger bark ficus cuttings from my Chinese village penjing, I pruned those back quite hard, and you can see they've just come out beautifully. Growing really well, look good. Here is my Ficus religiosa. I pruned that, I repotted it recently, kind of resetting it, and it has all kinds of new leaves popping out on the top of it, which is very exciting. Here is my Ficus cutting of a cutting. I pruned that back quite hard, repotted it, and it's just exploded in growth. My tiger bark ficus that looks like the elephant is doing well. It's recovering. And the tree that I planted, the Ficus microcarpa in the pot that Enzo made, is also coming into leaf nicely. So that's exciting. Here's my hibiscus that I pruned back recently. Quite a severe pruning, reducing it all back to make it nice and compact. And you can see all the leaves on it. It's looking really, really good. I have an orchid down here. My only orchid I have is in bloom, which is exciting. Here's my tamarind seedling. Tamarind. It's doing well. So this, I think last year it had some mealybugs on it, so I sprayed it with soap and water and picked them all off, and it's looking really good this year. I have a bougainvillea that's just ending its blooming back there. The kapok or carpoke trees are doing well. My baobabs are dormant in the corner back there. There's still a little bit of green on one of the tips, but yeah, they're basically dormant for the winter. I have all my succulents back there. And what else is doing well? The rubber trees are growing like crazy. They just love it in here. Yeah, and all kinds of aerial roots. I don't know if I can show them to you. I'll zoom in, but I don't know if it'll be in focus. There's the aerial roots on them. Yeah, and the forest also has all kinds of roots growing across the surface of the soil. My yellow hibiscus here was in bloom. It's got another bloom coming here. The Ficus benjamina that I cut back in kind of a windswept style is growing really well on top. It's looking good. My Ficus rumphii down here is looking really good. I did have to put some trees on the floor down here. My yucca forest, a few others, my primnas down there, my Christmas cactus. I have to make room somehow. I don't know how I'm going to do it. It's really full in here. Ficus plain is looking really good. So here's Ficus plain. It got all kinds of roots coming out of the pot, growing over the edge of the pot. And the canopy's filling out really nicely. I gave it quite a pruning. It's just looking really good. The best it's ever looked, I think. Yeah, so that's some of the updates in the plant room. That's not every tree, but that's kind of the ones that are that I've worked on recently and are recovering and growing. Got a nice sunny day. Should make all these trees really happy in here, getting sunshine. And the ones at the back, I have the grow lights on. Yeah, so they should like this nice sunny day. So I think it's time to head out into the greenhouse and start working on a tree today. The old orange cat has a new house to keep him warm at night because he's getting old. He really likes his new house, don't you? Yeah, you really like your new house. I don't know how we ended up with so many orange cats, but we did. Yeah, you enjoy that house. Yeah. Before I head outside, I'll just show you a shot of the basement here where I've got all the tempered trees chilling in the basement at around 10 degrees Celsius or 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, it's not that I've gotten more trees necessarily. It's that every year they grow a bit and I put them in bigger pots and the canopies get bigger. Yeah, and they just take up more space. So eventually I may have to get rid of some of the trees. Ones that I have duplicates of, and just kind of whittle the collection down a little bit so I have more space. Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Today we're going to work on a tree, and I haven't picked out a tree yet, so that is the next task to do. Hello Joan, how are you? Oh, what a good kitty. Oh yes, good to see you again, eh? Yeah. Well, maybe Joan and I will pick out a tree, eh? Would you like to help me? Okay. Yeah, you can help me pick out a tree. Oh, what a good girl, eh? Yeah, good girl. I think today I'm going to work on my London plane trees, or English sycamore trees. So these were grown from seed by Michael in our club, and he gave me these small seedlings. And I potted them up in this pot, root pruned them, and they grew really, really well this summer. Now I kept a tray of water underneath them, and it really helped them get them through the summer weather. So it's a good technique, getting that tray of water underneath them. Really helps them grow in the summer. So today I'm going to prune them back, and I would like to get this planted into a more of a forest type arrangement in spring. So that'll be the goal, is to get them kind of arranged. So it means when I go to repot them, I'll have to separate all the roots and and sort the root system out. But today I think it's time to prune the top of the trees. I'm ready to prune the trees up, and I'm starting to get some good branching on some of the trees down low, which is really nice. And the leaf size, get out of here, it reduces quite nicely on these trees. In nature they have big giant leaves, but when they're grown as a bonsai they reduce really nicely. Like you can see the size of this leaf here. It's very tiny. It's like as small as you'd need on any bonsai. I think Joan likes playing with the dead leaves. Yeah. So I think I'll just take one tree at a time and prune it up. So I'll start with this one. So you can see the trunk comes up really nicely and divides at the top here. And then I've got a thick branch coming off here. And I think I would be best to remove that totally and just develop, this small branch, the two up at the apex, and I've got a small branch down below. So I think that's where I'll begin. I'll take off that big thick shoot at the back, which is I guess like a sacrifice branch. So here I go. I'll just rough cut it with the ratcheting pruners at first, like that, and then I'll come in and clean that cut up if I can get in here without Joan being in the way. So we'll just make that cut a little bit concave. I That's pretty good there. Like that. And then I will also reduce these shoots on the top. So I've got to look for buds again, and I'm going to use that technique where I grow sacrifice buds that develop into the leaders in spring, and then I cut it back further. So I need to prune not to the first set of buds, but to the second set, which is here. So I'll prune the tip off here. Now this one, there's a stub here I can remove. And this one I've got buds down low. No, don't, that's sharp. So I can take it off right here. There is also a branch growing up out the back here, which is looking good. And I don't think I need to do much pruning on it. I'm just going to take the tip off like that. So that's got the first tree pruned up, and it's looking quite nice. I will seal that cut up with my rubber cement so it heals over nice and doesn't lose any moisture through that wound over the winter. Just like that. So next I'll do this tree that's growing out the front here. It's got a good branch here, a good branch here. I can cut this branch back. I'm leaving a couple of buds on it. I can take the tip off that branch. And then I think this is a good leader here. So I can, oh, there's a stub here I can take out. So I can either, keep it as a double leader and prune this thicker branch back to here, or I could take it right off and go for a bit of taper. And I think in this case I'm going to take it right off. I think it's just getting too thick. So I'll rough cut it first, so there's what I took off. And then I'll come in and nibble that down. And a bit further. Like that. And I'll also seal that cut up. Like that. So that's got the second tree pruned up. This is very exciting. They're looking good. For young seedlings, they're developing really nicely. I'll remove the older leaves here. The dead leaves. This one has a lot of good branch choices here. So again, I have some fine branching near the apex, so I think I can just take that top right off, reducing it back to one of these leaders. So there goes the top, like that, and I'll just nibble that back a little more, like that. Seal that cut up. Like that. And then I can look at the branches. So this one's good, it divides nicely, I don't have to prune that. This one, I could prune just the tip off here. This one, I got buds here and here, so I'll take it off here. And I don't know if that's alive. Might be. The buds here and here, so I'll take it off right here. So that's got tree number 3 pruned up. So these were germinated in 2021, plane trees. So they're doing really well for, young trees. They're looking really good. So the next tree is this skinny one, and it's got lots of branches coming off of it, which is nice. I can prune this one back to here. I can prune this one back to take the tip off. And I don't think I want to touch any of these other branches unless, there's one growing in a bad place, but I think they're pretty good. I could take out this one. It's there's like 3 branches growing on this side in a row, so I'll take out the middle one. like that. That sorts that tree out. So on to the next one. So let's get these dead leaves off. Like that, and another dead leaf there. So on this one, this leader isn't very strong, so I'm going to keep it and have it divide into two here. So I will take it off right here. I can take this tip off here. And on this branch, I can cut it back, just taking the tip off. And I think that's good. I think that tree's looking good. There's a tree here. It's quite tall. I think this is a dead branch here, but it may be not. No, I think it's just the waxy coating on them. I'm just going to prune the top off. Like that. I've got a branch over here that's getting kind of long. I'll just take the tip off of that one. And that's all I need to do on that tree. This one, I've got a stub here. And on this one, I've got a good kind of leader here, and this is kind of getting a bit thick, so I'm going to take that off. Like that. And I'll clean up that cut. Like that. And seal it with rubber cement. You can get this rubber cement at any craft store. It's, you know, quite a common thing used in the in any art store or craft store. Now this next tree, you can see I've got a nice branch here, one here, there's a leader here, and then I've got a thick leader coming up. And I think in this case I'm looking for buds. I have one on the outside here. I'm going to take it off right here, and I may leave this thick part on. I think it's okay, and I will prune this one back to here and this one back to here. So there's the bud that'll shoot out in spring, and then here's the bud fanning out to the outside of the tree that I'll then prune back to after the first flush of growth is hardened off. Just a little stub there. Okay, so that brings me back to the first tree, but there is still two in the middle here that I haven't pruned. So there's kind of a tall, spindly one in the middle. It doesn't have any branching yet. Well, there's a bit of fine branching, but not much. So I'm just going to take the top off like that. And then the next one is fairly developed. It has a lot of branches, actually. I kind of like that. There's a branch. There's a thick one here, and it's kind of curvy, and I'm not real keen on that, but so I have like 3 branches in the apex here. I hope you can see that. I think in this case I need to take the thickest one off. I think, or I could reduce it back. I have a bud on the outside. I'll try taking it back to here. And I should get some growth extend out in spring from there. And then I think this branch is staggered enough that it's okay, so I'll take the tip off of it. And there's a stub here I can remove. And there's a branch crossing everything here. If I took this branch off totally, I might be able to use that one. But these two are kind of growing close to each other, which is another disadvantage. It's a little awkward looking. Maybe I could prune this back. There is a bud back here, so I'll do that. I'm going to prune it back to there so a new shoot comes out. Gives it a bit more space. And I'll leave this branch on, because if I do remove this thicker one in the future, I can use this branch as a branch in that area. And then there's a branch coming up here. It looks pretty good. I could just take the tip off here. That's about all I want to do. So that has got the plane trees all pruned up. Yeah, and they're looking pretty good from, 2001. That's 3 years, and you get a pretty decent looking trees for a forest. Like, I think once this is arranged in a forest, it'll look quite nice. I've got a good variety of size, heights, and that, may, when I arrange the forest, I may reduce the height of some of these, like whippy ones, back to kind of get some variation in height. But yeah, so I'll show you a close-up of all the trees. I'll rotate them around so you can see them from all angles. So you can see that because I'm training them with clip and grow, that the styles of all the trees match, and they look very natural. They look like natural maple trees. They don't look contrived or bent. Yeah, and that's what I like in bonsai, is getting your trees to look like miniature trees you'd see in nature. And I think hopefully these will just keep getting better and better. Here's what I took off the plane trees today. It's just a lot of kind of long whippy branches. There's a look at the forest from above. It is warmed up in the greenhouse here. It is now 10 degrees Celsius or 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's pretty good. Hey, Joan, you like it. So I brought these trees in like a couple of days ago. And this one down here still has snow on the surface. So yeah, even though it's 10 degrees in the greenhouse, the plants take quite a while to warm up. And on the floor of the greenhouse here, they stay pretty cool. So it's a good place to overwinter trees. They stay very dormant, especially on the floor. It's a little warmer up top, but again, we only get, you can see the sun here is behind the pine. When it clears the pine, I get maybe 2.5 hours of sunlight, and the sun is really low. So it doesn't heat the greenhouse up much at all. It might feel nice in the air here, but the pots don't warm up. Not in that amount of time, they stay cold. So yeah, it's pretty good overwintering trees in here. I can't complain at all. And the trees do really well. I think my soil has finally thawed out on my northern bog forest. So this will be, I think, a fairly big job. It may not be a long video, but I think it'll be a lot of work for me, pruning up all the trees, getting them looking, the best they can before the spring growth comes. Yeah, it'd be nice, fun work. I really enjoy working on these miniature forests. I can hardly wait for the repotting season. The repotting season gives you an opportunity to take a bunch of seedlings that are growing in a plastic tub, and you can arrange them into a nice forest and landscape it, and you can turn something that looks very ordinary into something that looks really good. So that's why I always look forward to repotting season, because it allows you to transform trees from kind of the training stage, and when they're ready, getting you more into the bonsai stage or miniature tree stage. So it's always exciting when spring comes. So that is all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.